What's up, everyone? How are we doing? I just wanted to make this video quick here. We have a training session coming up this morning. Actually, you can still see my eggs left out. I just got finished making breakfast, and I still need to make that toast right there. If you can see right above my thumb. Point is, I was going over some of the workout today, and it got me thinking a little bit about my training philosophy and some of my beliefs that I have when I train. And maybe it's not common what other people do. And so in the training session itself, if I was to look at it as a younger self of me, we have things today, like we have 8 sets of an exercise. We have 6 sets, sometimes up to 10 sets. And my younger self would be like, well, why are you doing so many sets of an exercise? Well, I'm a big believer in if that exercise is deemed important, especially for athleticism, well, why would I spend other time doing other exercises that are kind of the same, but not as beneficial? What do I mean by that? Well, for example, we might have 8 sets of 3 today of a split squat. Now, my younger self might program 3 sets of 3 of a split squat, and then maybe 3 sets of 3 of a Bulgarian split squat, or a lunge, or a pistol squat, and another maybe 2 or 3 sets of a step up. So I'd have 3 different exercises, all of them unilateral, but the first one being the split squat, and the other 2 being kind of derivatives of the split squat. And arguably 2 derivatives that aren't as important as the split squat. And so as I've gotten older in my training programming, I have consolidated that quite a bit. I'm a big believer in that if the split squat is important, I don't want to spend my other 6 sets doing exercises that are kind of like a split squat, but not a split squat. And so I'm about focusing my attention on really important movements. Why? Well, 2 things. One, if I have just one really focused movement, I can mentally be engaged the whole time for that, time course. I know this is the important exercise. If I have 4 different exercises, how do I know which one's most important? And then number 2 is I get better at that movement because I repeat that movement over and over again. And if I think that movement is so critical, then I should probably make sure I'm doing it. Now, we might do other movements, right? We might do other hinging or other kind of similar-ish exercises, but those are typically either, if they're deemed important, done in a similar fashion. I'll do 6 or 7 sets. Or they're done strictly as some maintenance work, very much a higher volume, kind of lighter load situation. But honestly, we don't do much of those unless it's in a warm-up. I like to do those in the warm-up because it exposes your body to different movement patterns and ranges of motion. And I'm not so worried about the loading because it's a warm-up itself. And so that's just something I wanted to think about and how I think about, I wanted to share how I think about my training and training an athlete. I don't want to pick 20 different exercises for the day. I don't want to. I don't need to. I don't think that yields the best results. I want to focus on what's best. And the reason why I kind of but I got the idea quite a bit from looking at some of the old Russian weightlifting training logs. These are lifters who were the best in the world and looked at what they did for training. And they trained first off like 5 times a day, which was impressive enough. But when they trained, they weren't doing 20 different exercises that day. They might only do 3 exercises in an hour. Now they might do lots of sets of that exercise, but only about like 3 or 2 exercises. And the training is such high quality when that's done. I'm not bouncing between different movements. I can also regulate my fatigue really well. I know when I'm getting tired by that 6th or 7th or 8th set that there's no need to do other movements, right? A lot of times we'll go and do our split squats, then do a step up in Bulgarian. By the time you get to the last set of the Bulgarian, if that's your third exercise, you're trashed. You're tired. I don't want to be tired every workout. I want my athletes and myself to be fresh, ready to go, perform at a high level. I want the highest available possible force output, basically per set. So we rest, we take our time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of rest. And I was also reviewing the training, and today we have a circuit at the beginning, a contrast series, I should say. And that contrast series is basically outlined to take about 30 minutes. It's a split squat and a single leg movement, and it's a variation, kind of like a French contrast, and we'll do that for about 6 sets. And then after that, we take a 5-minute break, turn off the music, hang out, relax. Then we go back into our next primary movement, which have a hinge pattern, and we'll do that, and we'll refocus. So we have these patterns and undulations of focus. I don't need the athletes to be so engaged for an hour and a half that they can't think straight afterwards. I also want them to realize that once they accomplish and finish that session, that specific series, that let's take a minute, let's regather ourselves, and let's do a really good job at these next sets. So we take a break, get some water. If you need to have a snack, 5, 10 minutes. We want to stay warm and stay loose, stay in the training environment, but we don't need to be so engaged that we are, doing more than that's necessary. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share today, was how I build some of these training sessions and how they're a little bit different, I think, than what maybe most people do, and that's okay. But I wanted to share as to why I do it that way. Not every day is like that, but for the most part, they really are. We really do try and take our time, go through it, not rush it. Don't rush it, don't rush it, don't rush it. We're trying to have high quality outputs. Especially I can get away with that when I'm not on a time schedule. I know I'm blessed with that opportunity with the athlete I'm working with, and I don't need to have to churn and burn every hour. I got someone coming in. I have the luxury to take my time and go through it at a pace that makes sense for both of us. So hopefully that makes sense. I just wanted to share, and if you guys have questions, let me know, and I hope you enjoy it and kind of dive in a little bit more into some updates and training and philosophy as we go forward. And excited to keep doing these, and I appreciate y'all listening.